Well, hello and welcome to another episode of Winning in Professional Services. My name is Scott Pressimone, and I am here with Matteo Travato. The topic for today is video marketing. I think this is a really important topic for professional services firms because video is so important today. The way I think we engage with companies we decide that we're going to work with, if you're going to buy a product or service, it often is going to help with credibility if you can actually watch a video. And Matteo, I don't know about you, but when I go to a new homepage or a website that I'm maybe considering buying a product or service, I actually hunt for a video. I actually look to try to find an explanation of what this company is providing through a video.
I do the same. I hunt for videos too. If I cannot find videos on a website, I definitely try to find other media properties from the company I am considering to buy from, whether that's YouTube or their LinkedIn page, and see if they have any media over there. If not, I may try to find audio. Maybe it's a podcast or something along those lines, but definitely more than just text-based information for sure. I want to see who are the people behind the company, what they look like, what they sound like, what their philosophies about what they're selling are. So definitely video helps quite a bit in my decision-making process when I go through the selection of a vendor for sure.
Yeah, and I'd say the times that I'm disappointed, it's often when these videos are these punchy videos that just have text going through and selling some headlines. It's no, I actually, as you said, I want to see the people behind company. And that doesn't mean just saying, here's a video of me and my team. I think it's the founder speaking or someone speaking and describing the service or someone making a comparison to their competitors out there and helping you make a buying decision by divulging more information. It's not just some punchy things that saying, we do this and having some background music, whatever to it. I think it's about humanizing the interaction a little bit more. But that's obviously so the topic for today is how to go about doing that as maybe a small or mid-sized business in the professional services space. Now, the reason I think this is so important right now is I was just looking up some stats on the subject, Matteo, and I think a lot more people these days are interacting with videos like us, so we're not alone. But the interesting part of this is that it seems that companies are producing less videos. So businesses in particular are producing less videos, at least over the last year or so. And the reason for that is a couple key reasons that came up in surveys. And it's that there's too much of a time commitment and there's too much of a money commitment. And so if these companies were using some great production studios or they were hiring these specialists to come out to their office to create great videos, maybe they don't have the budget to do that anymore. Or if they previously had a lot of extra time spare and they were there to experiment and saying, let's try new things with our employees, maybe we'll produce some videos. That might have been great, but hey, when times get stressful and when there's not a lot of free time, it's just the time that some companies are giving up on video. And so to me, and the reason I thought we talk about this today, Matteo, is I think that means that's the time to really dive into it and to commit to it because when people are doing something, that's opportunity. I smell
Right.
opportunity.
Yeah, I agree. I think honestly, as a marketer myself, without having read that statistic, I wouldn't have imagined that video was in decline in terms of production volume, because I see videos every day. Whenever I research companies or work with clients, I do see a lot of companies creating great content through video. But I agree, I definitely agree that there is still a gap. There's a lot of companies that, especially in some niches, in some industries, professional service companies don't use video as much as maybe SaaS companies do. And so there's definitely an opportunity there for the professional service companies that recognize this gap in their market, and they can definitely fill it up with their own personalities through video creation and video content.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not pulling this out of nowhere. This was a HubSpot article that states that 61% of companies point to the time and bandwidth and their budget hurdles as being the reason that they're not able to produce as many videos, and that technical ability and training to be behind at 44%. So another reason for that, why they're not investing in video. So our goal today is really just to talk through some practical things that we can do in order to get more videos produced that are useful and helping people build trust with your brand and hopefully make some buying decisions to lead to some growth. So I think one of the first tips that I want to talk about here is minimizing complexity. So we talked about how maybe it's an issue with budget. We don't have enough money to put into this investment of producing high quality videos. And I am a believer in that. Yes, it's good to have some equipment. It's good to have a decent camera and decent audio. However, we do not need to go to the pro level. We do not necessarily need to invite a pro videographer out to the office spending thousands of dollars. I think that what we're looking to do today is how can we get some basic video best practices implemented in an office environment in a way that it's not going to cost too much for a small business. So that's the goal here. Reducing friction, making it very easy to record videos, and then also not making a super costly process. And then there's also stuff like the editing side of things, potentially even doing some editing in-house at a very basic level. So that's the thought there. So maybe we start off, Matteo, with some equipment. I'm curious if you have any go-to equipment or any thoughts that you have into the sort of video or audio gear that you typically recommend.
Yeah, I started years ago with a very basic mirrorless camera, and that was probably a Canon, I forgot exactly which model, but a very simple entry-level Canon mirrorless camera. And I was actually using a wired lavalier mic back then. So it was one of those small little microphones that you attach to your t-shirt or shirt, and I plugged it right into the camera. So it was long enough for me to just stand in front of the camera and record and have good audio. Over time, I've upgraded. I'm now using a Sony 7C, which is a full frame camera. It records in 4K. I can record in different video formats, and I can use it also as a webcam, or I can stream directly. If I wanted to plug it right into my computer, I could do that with my camera as well. And then I have this Audio Technica microphone. I think this is an ATR 2100, and it's a $60 microphone. It's a USB mic, but you could also use it with an audio interface if you wanted to. I use it just with a USB plugged into my computer, and it sounds great. It sounds crisp. Even within my own little room here, my office, which is quite empty, and there's quite a bit of an echo sometimes. With this microphone, I think the audio comes out very clean. I don't need to do much post-production after the fact. So I'm pretty happy with this setup. I have a small LED light right in front of me, which helps me light up my face. Otherwise, I would be pretty dark. Although I do have some window light coming in from my left-hand side. Other than that, I even think sometimes a good sort of webcam could do the job. If you're maybe doing some screen sharing for some type of explainer video, the webcam built into most of our modern laptops do pretty well in my mind. I would just recommend having your face lit as much as possible. Obviously not blowing out your face, but just have enough light so that people can see you. And that would be probably my number one recommendation for. How about you, Scott?
Yeah, I think those are great recommendations. For me, you mentioned webcam. In this office setup, I actually do just have a webcam, and that's why my video doesn't look as good as Mateo's. And I'd recommend, of course, going better if you can, but I just have a Logitech webcam, one of the higher end ones, but still you're talking about $100, $150 webcam that is 4K. And I do have a couple lights here, which again, I'm not a great lighting person, and maybe I have a shiny forehead or something, but again, it's going to be better than someone who's super highly pixelated because their face isn't lit at all. So I think your goal here is really to be good enough. Another point that you had mentioned offline when we were discussing this, Matteo, is the importance of audio, right? And that I think you said that you emphasize the audio over the video. And maybe if you're going to pick one piece of gear, potentially that means using a webcam, as you said, maybe it's the built-in Mac webcam or whatever, right? And then getting a little nicer microphone or using a lavalier microphone or something like that. And now you're already at a pretty decent setup, so long as you're able to get next to a window and get some decent light. So it's pretty basic to start. Now, to add to that though, is if you're a business that's been operating, you have a bit of funding, I do think it's good to take a little bit of a step beyond what you and I are talking about here and commit to the fact you're going to produce videos. So if you're just going to say, I'm going to experiment a little bit with a webcam and whatever, that's fine. But if you do believe that video is important, maybe invest $500 or $1,000, right? We're not talking about a huge amount of money for a small business. So something like Sony ZV-E10, that is a mirrorless camera that is made by Sony. You can plug it directly in via USB. If you want to, it'll register as a webcam. So it's basically a separate camera that can be used for regular photography and videography, but you can also just plug it in and it'll register as a webcam. So you can record with your computer quite easily, right? So something like that would be a good place to start. And again, if you're talking a few $100s, $300 or $400, now you're saying it's serious enough. I'm going to spend some time to make sure the setup is actually going to work well. So I tend to like that camera. The other thing is the DJI Osmo Pocket is now there's the newest version of that is very good at stabilization. So that's one of these cameras that you can plug in your computer, or you can walk around the office and just record things that are happening in the office potentially, or interview a client. That's a nice wireless, easy kind of run and gun setup, right? So that's a really good one. And then the DJI mics. So there's the DJI Mic 2. That's a wireless microphone you can plug into either your computer or into a camera. And then you can just connect it right here with a magnet. And for the audio listeners, connected to your chest with a magnet, or you can plug it into a wired lavalier mic as well. So you can get it even closer and maybe higher quality. So in the end, my opinion is be willing to invest $500 or $1,000 if you're a profitable business. If you're not and you're just getting started, then fine, maybe not. But I think it's important to reduce friction. So that would be to say, have a setup in your office, in the corner of your office, and maybe it's in your home, wherever it may be, but have it set so it's always ready to go. Because the last thing you want to do is run into these situations where you're saying, oh, I have to move the lighting over here, and then I have to plug in the webcam again and move it to this other computer. And then every time that you have an extra step you're going to take, it's far less likely that you're going to actually do a recording. I just believe reduce your friction, have it set up and always ready to go. And it sounds like that's something that you've also done with your setup. Is that right, Matteo?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I went through also several iterations within my office. I used to have my camera always in the bag, and then whenever I needed to use it, I took it out, set up the lights. I would have a big dome light also. I ended up stripping all of that away and setting up just a one-click recording studio that basically I don't have to think. Whenever I want to record something, I just pull the microphone out, plug the camera, and then just press record literally. And I would just record. And then once done, the only manual activity I really do is take the SD card and offload the footage onto my computer and then work on editing that. But other than that, I really just have to press two buttons to start recording. And that has helped me tremendously to increase the volume of videos that I create. Literally, I would potentially sometimes wake up in the morning and have a thought and would want to just record it right away. And that's what I've done several times. Other times I would sit down maybe and script out my video and have maybe a higher level quality production for those videos, but still I don't have to think about where to place the camera, how much intensity I would have to set the lighting. Anything is already preset up. So it's fairly fast to just record whenever I want to do something of this.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will share that I have a couple of clients that I've helped set up, at least guide in these purchases. One of my clients, we have a video camera set up on the corner of his desk, in which case it's always in the right position. It's always one click away from recording, but it's very minimal in the sense that it's just lighting from the office. So we're not doing super fancy with the lighting. But like I said, it's always there and it's not taking up too much space and it's not a different room. It's just literally where he always sits and it just works. And another one of my clients actually has a room that they are now converting into a studio and they're going more serious with it, getting the backdrop set up and stuff. But again, they understand the importance of having a place that you can go in. It just always works. And whether it's a room that's dedicated or it's a corner of a desk, either way, you can get that friction reduced, as it sounds like you've done, Matteo, with your setup as well.
It's really important for professional service companies in general to create this frictionless video production process that really doesn't interfere much with their billable hours. You want to make it, like you said, as seamless as possible. Maybe set up a video booth in the office, like you said, and that would be probably the best setup for anyone. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And very quickly on the editing side, I think that you have some more advanced editing skills, Matteo, but I think that there are some tools that I think any marketing coordinator or anything in your office could probably learn. There's a app called Descript, which is a fully online cloud-based application that you can pull or upload your video into, and it will transcribe the video, and then you can have some presets ready and you can edit the video just by text. So if you have the intro part of your video where you're testing something, you're testing the microphone, you simply highlight the text of that testing time, you click the delete key, and that deletes that portion of the video. Or if you have a lot of ums, you can click a button that says, let's remove all the ums from this video, either from the transcript or from the video itself. And so that is an application that I've used personally. I believe you've used as well, Matteo. And I was really pleased when one of my clients started using this and they got it going instantly, right? It was one of those tools where it was an application that, hey, tried to script, set it up, and sure enough, oh yeah, just edit the video, it's done, right? It was one of those one day things all of a sudden, and there's not many softwares that are like that, where it's just so simple that anyone can pick it up in a day and you're good to go. Now let's move on to application of this. So let's say that we have a basic setup, whether it's a webcam or any of the stuff that we discussed. Now, what are we actually gonna make these videos about? So I think we should think about what are going to have the highest impact of having a video recorded on particular subjects or particular pages of your website, let's say. I'll start really quickly. I think that the About Us page is one of the great pages that you could have a video, because you want to humanize your brand. You don't want an About Us page that just says some generic stuff about the year you started. Ideally, it has a picture of your team. It has why you started. Maybe it's a message from the founder that's there saying, again, who you are, what you represent, why you started the business, and how you think about your business. This is something where you still want to make the About Us page about the individual that's watching it. You don't want to make it all about yourself, but having that nice video from a founder, I think, really does serve that purpose of helping build that trust. So that's one of the pages. Do you have any other thoughts on other pages you think are important to have videos on the site, Matteo?
Yeah, I would say the contact us page is another one, probably very important, since it's often the last stop before a potential client decides to reach out. So I would use video here to push them over the edge if at all possible. You could potentially create a series of what to expect videos. So it's maybe what to expect in your first consultation, and have maybe a partner within the company to explain the process, what to prepare for the first call, and what you will cover. Additionally, you could have a how we structure our fees type of video in the contact us page, or you could still potentially use that video later on if you say have a nurturing campaign with the people that fill out a form on your website. You could potentially send out this sort of how we structure our fees videos and just transparently discuss your billing practices, or even just our client's communication promise. So what is the sort of promise that you make with all of your clients that would help potential leads to clear out some of the doubts that they have before filling out a form on your contact us page. So maybe these are the 3 type of videos I would recommend professional service companies prepare, record, and place on the contact us page.
Yeah, it's a great point. And I think you don't need to go super advanced on these. If we're just thinking about the content you're going to push, let's say it's on the contact page. Maybe, as you said, Matteo, it's just what to expect. What happens after you fill out the form? If you're going to make this a very long video, you might actually be giving people an excuse to not engage with you, right? Because people are looking for reasons to say, oh, actually, don't trust that thing they said, or actually, that sounds like they're going to be expensive. Maybe I won't contact them. So you want to make sure that you're being relatively concise. But the fact that if you're a trustworthy face that's speaking to them, that's not some hired hand, and it's in fact like a member of the team or it's the founder, it's there to give that trust and say, what's going to happen next? And I love that you pointed out, Matteo, too, that maybe another video is, now they've signed up, now they've filled out the contact form. Maybe that next step is on the thank you page. Hey, thanks for filling out the contact form. As we said, we're going to contact you within the next 2 days, and we'll guide you through XYZ process. So now they've submitted the form, and now they feel good about having submitted the form, because sure enough, they weren't thrown off somewhere else. They were getting greeted there as well. And you said also in the drip campaign. So don't think of this as just a sales tool. This is also potentially an onboarding tool. So maybe you now have your team members record some videos about after an engagement starts. Maybe you have account managers or something like that, in which case a message comes from them after the client signs up and pays a bill. So I think that you could use videos everywhere. And I think it's pretty easy to come up with 5 or so of those most relevant videos to just have recorded right away. And they're already going to help engagements with your prospects or potentially clients. Yeah, there are plenty of others, like pricing pages. You could potentially have things, your FAQ pages could be FAQ videos in some cases, but I think there are plenty of different ideas of way you could utilize video. But the next thing I think that we should touch on is creating that culture of video creation, because you don't want this to be a one and done situation where you're saying, oh, all right, I got those videos recorded and they're not touched in years. Ideally, we're actually utilizing video marketing and we're getting our name out there in a consistent way. Maybe we're publishing stuff on LinkedIn consistently, as you do, Matteo. And so if we want to get more of those videos out, I think we need a culture in the company that's going to say, number one, everyone's bought into the fact that video is important. Other people are involved in the company. So people know that they might be brought in and say, hey, key account manager that has great expertise in some area or subject matter expert, we want to interview you on camera so we can use this in one of our email campaigns. We need to get that culture in place. And I think we also need to get a bit of a routine in place to where it's just normal that every week at least we're getting a video produced and out the door. And so, Matteo, do you have any thoughts? You've been really good at consistency when it comes to video. Do you have any tips to share when it comes to making sure that there's either a culture of video creation or there's a consistency to creating videos?
I would say the biggest thing would be to identify a video champion or multiple video champions within the company. Either each department has a video champion, or the marketing manager or the marketing specialist is the person that is actually responsible for ensuring their team contributes or other departments contribute to the video content pipeline. Because if you just expect people to come up with video ideas, I would say most of the time that is not going to happen. Even if people are bought into the idea that video is helpful, I think generally getting in front of a camera is not natural for most people. So facilitating and removing friction also inside of the organization as much as possible for the people that we want to contribute to our content creation, video creation process. We want to make it as easy as possible for them to get in front of the camera and record. So from my experience working in a marketing department previously for a marketing agency, the best way for me was to just have meetings, say, with a developer beforehand and identify a topic that we could record a video on based on the expertise of that particular person, and then together work on an outline and then help them create that script for them to then record the video on a set date that we had pre-scheduled together. So I think generally what I would really recommend is identifying someone who is responsible for pushing the initiatives forward, and then over time, potentially more people can help with that. But that's probably one of the biggest piece of advice I would give at this point. Yeah.
I think that's really important because, as you said, if no one's owning that, then it's just not going to get done. So I think it's so important that there's owners behind any initiative like this. And yeah, it's a great point. And then not only that, someone who's putting that time into planning it, because you can't, as you said, go to a developer and say, hey, come up with a topic and let's create a video about it. But if you're giving them a layup, you're saying, hey, a lot of clients are asking about this thing. It's a really technical term. We don't really know how to explain it. Do you maybe explain it? I can get an outline idea for you, but maybe we could talk through that for 15 or 30 minutes tomorrow. Can we do that? And then now you're bringing them into that and you're facilitating that for them, and you're bringing the talent in a way that's a little more comfortable, right? So I think that's a great way to put it. The other quick tip that I have is, in some cases, it's interview format, in which case you outline it. You don't maybe know the exact questions you're going to ask, but at least you know the format and you're standardizing that so it's more natural. And that's what we're doing, right? We had an idea what to talk about today, Matteo, but I don't have a list of questions to ask you, right? So outlining is very good. Potentially script writing is good. So with one of my clients, I have a setup similar to my setup here where I can look into a teleprompter. I can actually look and see myself speaking, right? And so I have a video monitor with a teleprompter angled thing that allows me to see on the screen. And that allows me to either see myself on camera or make eye contact with you, Matteo, right? So I have this slightly more advanced setup, not an expensive setup, but my client has this setup. And what we've done for him is it is actually we're using it as a teleprompter. And where part of our process is writing a script and saying, hey, look, we have this topical thing. We want to explain something in detail. The details really matter here. We can't ad lib. We really have to stick to a script. In that case, it's write the script, right? It's put the script on the teleprompter, be able to read it directly from the teleprompter, making eye contact the whole time, and then just have this very low friction way of just recording those videos and getting them done. And I think just know whether or not you're looking for an interview type format, or if you're looking for more of a reading from a script, talking head type format. Maybe you have both, but your preparation is going to vary a little bit.
Yeah, I would say another practical tip could be to simply make a list of all the type of potential videos each one within the company could think about creating at any point in time. This could be for client-facing, say, individual frequently asked questions. So if you're talking with clients on a daily basis and you get asked questions over and over again, and some questions come up more than others, those could be potential topics for videos. If you are a salesperson, definitely a lot of the sales questions salespeople get could be turned into videos. So generally what I would recommend is making everyone aware within the company of what is the type of video that we could be potentially recording. And so maybe every week or every few days, there is a place within the company where people get asked if they have come across any potential video ideas. And that keeps everyone reminded that there is a video initiative going within the company. And just having that sort of constant reminder is helpful in my mind to just make sure everyone pitches in their ideas every once in a while. And it's not just the marketing department that is trying to fish or extract ideas from the other departments, but other departments also have ideas to bring up proactively as well.
That is such an important point, Matteo. I've seen that happen where it's almost like the different team members are thinking they're doing a favor for marketing. And that's back to the company culture being a video-oriented marketing culture where everyone knows that they have to be involved in marketing. You can't say there's some siloed marketing team that's, I guess they're creating some videos or something. I don't know. If other departments don't know what's going on and they're not involved, then they're not going to be sharing video ideas. And I think that we really have to have that culture where, like you said, a salesperson or an account representative is saying, you know what, people are asking a lot about this particular subject. And so long as the marketing team has made that a relatively easy and smooth process to create videos, then hopefully those people are going to say, well, that wasn't so bad being interviewed on that topic. Maybe I'll share with the team this idea that I have. We really want that to be their ideas to be pushed to the marketing team. Then the marketing team might need to prioritize them. But for the most part, there's always these new ideas coming through, and rather than having to try to suck them out from different team members as almost a favor, it's that isn't going to go as well. Now, to close things out a little bit, Matteo, there's another topic that I didn't have on our list of discussion points here, but you pointed it out elsewhere to me, and it's that we have to think, once you have the videos created, let's say these aren't just the videos that are going on your website. These are videos that you're publishing on a regular basis on your YouTube channel or something like that. We have to make sure there's a plan behind promoting those as well. So we just talked about how marketing can't live in a silo, and you can't have the marketing team producing videos and then them not going anywhere. So you need to make sure that they're published on social media, but then also, what's the plan for promoting them? And I know that might be a topic for another podcast in the future, but I just want to know if you have any thoughts on that as to how to best get the word out there instead of just saying, oh, look, we finished recording it, we uploaded it, it's done. In a certain way, that's only the start of the process. You have to make sure that people are actually seeing your videos. Is that fair to say, Matteo?
100%. Yes. I would say video creation is one piece of the bigger marketing puzzle that we are working on in the marketing department. And so obviously the easiest way to distribute content, video content, is first of all, use YouTube. And YouTube is a search engine. So obviously what we can do to amplify the reach of our videos is making sure that we are using the right type of keywords in the video title, that we write keyword rich video descriptions, and that should help in some way to distribute the video as soon as we hit publish on the platform. Obviously, the number of people that are going to see the video initially all depends, or for the most part depends, on the size of the following of your YouTube channel. So if you only have 100 subscribers on your YouTube channel, maybe sometimes videos get picked up by the algorithm and go quote unquote viral. For 100 subscriber YouTube channel, viral could even mean getting 2,000 or 3,000 views. And that's already a big success. So again, I would spend time in researching keywords and making sure that the videos are SEO optimized for YouTube. Because as I said, YouTube is a search engine, and that's how videos get discovered on YouTube. Secondly, I would try to repurpose my video as an audio only, if possible, if it's suitable, as an audio only piece of content. So maybe we create a podcast out of the video that we have created. Obviously, if it's a promotional video, if it's an explainer video, maybe that doesn't work well as an audio only piece of content, but there are other more educational type of videos that could be well reproduced as an audio only type of video or piece of content. And then we go into social media distribution. In my opinion, for professional service companies, I would definitely consider sharing short videos of maybe a longer form video on our personal LinkedIn pages and on our company LinkedIn pages as well. And again, the LinkedIn algorithm is pretty good. As of, today, I would say I posted a video last night and I was quite surprised by the number of views that the video got in less than 24 hours. And I have a very small following on LinkedIn, less than 800 people follow me. And the video got a couple thousand impressions, which had never happened before. So the LinkedIn algorithm is really good at prioritizing video content over text-based content only. So if you do have videos and publish them on LinkedIn and write a text post that accompany your video and supplements whatever information is on your video, that's a good way to distribute content. Obviously, you need to continue to distribute content and build out your LinkedIn following so that the more content and videos you post in the future, the more reach you're going to get later on. And then I would say, lastly, potentially a way to distribute content, video content, is through our own channel. So if we have an email list, that's another good way to distribute our own videos directly to the people that are on our email list and direct them to, say, our YouTube channel or our podcast platform or somewhere else, wherever we have published our videos.
A lot of great tips there, Matteo. I think as I think about what we've just described, it's that the 101 of this is creating some basic videos you can put on your website. And that's the about you, about your business, about the founders, whatever, right? But then when you brought up the point of distribution, you were first starting by explaining that YouTube, for instance, is a search engine. And so people are actually searching on that. And I think that's where we're making that transition to, once you have those basic videos created, now you're thinking about, how do I build an audience? How do I get my name out there more? How do I become a trusted voice? How do I become a thought leader? When you're thinking that way, now it's, do you have a take on certain subjects? Can you explain a certain subject in a certain way? And I think that's less about you and your services. That's a little bit more about your knowledge and how you speak about things. And in that case, you have to be thinking, get some insights of what those topics for video can be from your team, from your sales team, et cetera. But then also potentially you can get some topics from researching what people are searching for. So if there are a lot of people searching for a subject and there's not a great video on the subject, hey, guess what? You can actually create a video. You can publish it on YouTube that's answering that specific question someone is having on that. And then now you have a chance of getting new traffic or new visitors or new viewers that weren't searching for you, weren't searching for your take on something, but were searching for information on that subject. And so that's why I think it's so important that you have an idea of what people are asking for. You have that, and that you're giving that to them. And maybe some of those are top of the funnel searches. Some of them are not people searching for your product or service. But hey, if you get your name out there more, if you're becoming more of a brand, they see your face time and time again. They see your face on the LinkedIn feed multiple times. That's where you start to get some more traction. So I think a lot of great tips. We could go down many different rabbit holes on this subject, but I think that's a good starting point for everyone. And the real big takeaway here, yes, we got down into some details, but it's to take the first step, just like everything else. We want to be practical and say, look, get maybe a microphone or get your webcam out and just start recording some basic videos to humanize your brand a little bit more. Then start thinking about how to make it a more consistent way to get out there. Because hey, with AI and all these other things and more people getting text-based stuff that's super easy to create, how many people are actually real people talking on video, not just some shiny background music and text showing up and some automated video, right? We're looking for people making connections, people sharing their insights on things. And that's what we're talking about. And that's a way to stand out. You're not the only company that's going to be doing this, but guess what? Not, as we started from the beginning of this episode, some companies are not investing and putting the time that's needed into this. Now's the opportunity to start doing it yourself if you haven't already. So let's close it there. Thank you so much, Matteo, for the time, and talk to you soon.